Hello, students. So, yesterday we had studied about the separation of the mixture, and we came to know that how can we separate the mixture from each other, in which three things are there, that how can we separate the solid from that of the solid, and to separate the two solid component from each other, we can use a suitable solvent by mixing the both of the component in the suitable solvent, and then separating them from each other, including that of the, if suppose we have taken the sulfur and that of the sand, the suitable solvent is the carbon disulfide, or if we are taking the sugar and that of the salt, then the suitable solvent is that of alcohol. Then the next we studied about the sublimation, and sublimation is what in which one out of the two solid component, one component must be sublimable. It must be sublime. It must show the process of sublimation, and another one is just an impurity. It is a non-sublime substance. Then we can go through the process of sublimation by which we can separate the two solid component. Okay, now we will see the another kind of a method by which we can separate the two solid component from each other, and that is separation by the help of a magnet. Okay, so we can separate the two solid component by using a magnet. So if a mixture it contains iron as one of the constituent, it can be separated by using magnet. So here whenever we are using the magnet, this process is also known as a magnetic separation. It is known as a magnetic separation. Okay, it's a magnetic separation. So this can be done with the help of a magnet. So basically we are using this process when one of the component is shows attraction towards that of the magnet. It's a magnetic material, and one of the component is a non-magnetic material, and then only we can go through the process of magnetic separation. Okay, so here I'm saying that if the mixture it consisting of a iron, because iron is what, it is a magnetic substance, it shows attraction towards magnet, so it shows the magnetic property. So it is that one of, if one of the constituent iron is present, so out of the two one, then we can use this magnetic separation process to separate the iron component from it. Okay, so you can see here in this picture a bar magnet is used, and this is the iron fillings, and when you bring that bar magnet to that of the iron, then iron is start attracting towards that of the bar magnet. Now we can understand this process with the help of an example. So you can see here, if suppose we take a mixture of a iron filling and that of the sulfur. Okay, if we take iron filling and that of the sulfur and we mix together, okay, when we mix together, then after mixing together these both of the solid component, you see sulfur is also in a solid form, and that of the iron filling, when we mix them together and bring a horseshoe magnet, is a horseshoe magnet, you can take a bar magnet also. So here we had taken a horseshoe magnet, and when we take this horseshoe magnet and move over the surface of the mixture, then what happened, the iron filling, this iron filling will get attracted to that of the magnet, and you see they get attracted and they cling to the pole of the magnet, and due to which we can separate the iron filling with that of the sulfur. Okay, and since sulfur does not show attraction towards the magnet, it will remain in the china dish. Okay, so by this method, by using the magnet, we can separate the both of the mixture of a solid component. So magnetic separation can be used in for many process in which we can separate the magnetic material with the help of a magnet and which help in separating that material from the other material. Okay, so this is the last one in which we the solid and that of the solid component can be separated from each other. So right now we have studied that how can we separate the two solid component from each other, that is solid component from each other. The first one we have studied, that is with the help of using a solvent. By using a suitable solvent we can separate it. The second one we studied, and that is sublimation. And the third one is the magnetic separation, or by using magnet. Now we will come to the another type of a mixture. This was the mixture when the solid component was there. If suppose a solid component is mixed with that of the liquid, or if suppose a mixture is having both solid as well as the liquid component, so how can you separate this solid to that of the liquid? So what are the different methods by which we can separate them from each other? The first one is filtration. The second one is crystallization. Third one is by centrifugation. Fourth one is by using the chromatograph paper, or by using the process of chromatography. Fifth is evaporation, by evaporating it. And the last one is distillation. Basically the distillation is also divided into two, and that is simple distillation or the fractional distillation. Okay, so these are the different methods by which we can separate the solid and the liquid component from each other. Okay. So now we will start with the first one, and that is known as filtration. Now what is filtration, student? Filtration is a process of removing an insoluble solid from a liquid using a filter paper is known as filtration. I am writing the definition here again. The process of removing insoluble solids from liquids using a filter paper. So you see here, by using this process, by if suppose two substances are there, a solid as well as a liquid is there, and the solid is not soluble, it does not get dissolved with that of the liquid, so we go through this process, and that is the process of filtration. So by using a filter paper we can separate that of the solid from the liquid. So this process in which we remove the solid, the insoluble solid from the liquid by using a filter paper is called as filtration. Okay, now see here. So suppose the mixture of an insoluble solid and a liquid is there. Okay, so how can we separate them? We will pour that insoluble solid and a liquid into a filter paper. You can see here, this is a filter paper, and filter paper which is in a cone form. Okay, so we will pour it into a filter paper cone, and that filter paper cone is fixed in a funnel. Okay, so this is the funnel, and in this funnel filter paper is there. I can show you here. You can see here in this figure, this is the funnel, and in the funnel a paper is there. This paper is known as the filter paper. Okay, so we will take a filter paper and make it in a cone shape, give it a cone shape, and then we fix that filter paper cone in the funnel, and with the help of the glass rod, you can see here, we can separate it. So now see here, when you pass the liquid through that of the filter paper and collect it into the beaker which is kept just below that of the funnel. So here is the filter paper which is fixed, and which we had kept it on that of the another beaker, and from here where we are pouring the solution into the filter paper which is placed in the funnel, and in the next beaker which we had kept just below that of the funnel, we will collect the filtrate. Now see here, when we do that what happened, the solid particles which is present in this beaker, in the mixture of the insoluble and the solid and that of the liquid, when you pour it, then what happened, the solid particle which is also coming with the liquid particle in the filter paper, it do not passes through the filter paper. Okay, so filter paper only allows the liquid particles to pass through it. So these solid particles do not passes the filter paper, and thus it remain behind on the filter paper. Now, the substance which left behind on the filter paper, it is known as residue, and the clear liquid which is obtained is called as filtrate. You can see here in this picture, as we were talking about, see here, this is a funnel and a filter paper is there, and when we pour that of the solid and insoluble solid and the liquid together, then you will find that the solid substance, the liquid will pass and enter into this the another beaker which is kept just below that of the funnel, while that of the solid substance will remain as usual. So you can see here, it will remain present on that of the filter paper. So by this method we can separate the solid substance from that of the liquid substance. Okay, so you can see here the filtrate will remain here, but that of the residue will remain on that of the filter paper. There are a lot of example of that. We can take an example of a chalk, water, and that of the sand and water, anything. Okay, so if suppose you had taken an example of a sand and water, so we know that this heterogeneous mixture, it is an heterogeneous mixture because they never get dissolved in it, and by looking at them we are easily able to tell the separation boundary between the two component. So if we take a sand and water together, we can use the process of filtration, and when we will mix that of the sand and water together, then what happened, they do not mix together, and finally when we pour that of the sand water in that of the filter paper, the water, it will comes to that of the beaker, come to that of the beaker, a conical flask which is kept just below that of the funnel. Okay, but the sand, since it is a solid particle and it is insoluble, so it will not pass through the filter paper and remain present on the surface of the filter paper. Okay, so it can be obtained on that of the filter paper in the form of a residue. Okay, and the clear liquid that we obtain is known as a filtrate. Okay, so this is the process by which we can use the process of filtration. You can see here, we will collect the sand on this filter paper. you can take an example of a chalk or water also. Chalk and water is a heterogeneous mixture, so we cannot separate them. So when you pour that of the chalk water solution with the help of the filter paper, the chalk powder will remain on the surface of the filter paper, while the water, clear water, will goes to that of the conical flask, which is kept just below that of the funnel. So by this process, by using the filtration process, we can separate the solid and liquid constituent from each other. Now we will start with the next process by which we can separate the solid and the liquid component from each other, and that process is known as centrifugation. Okay, so when we talk about the centrifugation, actually this centrifugation is a method by which we can separate the suspended particle of a substance from a liquid in which the mixture is rotated at a high speed in a centrifuge. Now see here, if suppose a mixture of a solid and a liquid is there, and when you keep it for some time, then what happens? The solid particle which is not soluble, it will settle down, while the liquid will remain there. But there are some of the particles when you keep it which is present in that of the liquid, and it is also insoluble. So when you keep it undisturbed for some times, even then also you will see that these particles, they do not settle down, especially that of the colloidal particles. And you know that since in the colloidal particles there is always due to Brownian movement, they never settle down, they do not settle down. Okay, when you keep it for some time, it will not settle down, and it is due to the zigzag motion which is occurring between the particles. They are continuously colliding with each other, and as they are colliding with each other, they do not settle at the bottom of the beaker. So for this we use a process. If we want to settle that of the particles, we can use the process of centrifugation. So it is a method of separating the denser particle and lighter particle from a mixture by using a centrifuging machine. So here the lighter particle, it means the particle which is suspended, which is also known as suspended particle, as well as that of the dense particle also, from the mixture by using a machine, and that is known as centrifuging machine. Okay, so basically this method is used for separating the suspended particle of a substance from a liquid. Now, how this centrifugation is done? We are saying that this centrifugation is done in which the liquid and the solid, this mixture is rotated at a high speed in a centrifuge. Okay, so when we rotate it at a high speed, then we are allowed to mix this solid to that of the liquid component to separate from each other. So basically this centrifugation is done by using a machine, and that is known as centrifugate. Okay, this is known as centrifugate. Now see here, in the method of centrifugation, when we talk about the method of centrifugation, the mixture of a fine suspended particle in a liquid is taken in a test tube. Okay, this one is taken in a test tube, and the test tube is placed in a centrifuge machine. So this is the centrifuge machine also, and in which we kept that of the milk here. This is the milk and the cream when they were present together, when they were mixed together with each other. Okay, so when the test tube is placed in a centrifuge machine, and then it is rotated, okay, rapidly for some time, then what happened, as the mixture it starts rotating rapidly, a force starts acting on the heavier suspended particle in it and bring them down at the bottom of the test tube. Okay, and due to which the clear liquid being lighter remain on the top. So basically what happened when we take this in a when we keep all these things in a centrifugate machine, in a for doing the centrifugation, when we keep this test tube in a centrifuge machine, then this centrifuge machine, it used to rotate. Okay, that rotation can be by any force with the help of a motor also. When it get rotated rapidly, then what happened, this mixture, as it rotates, so there is a force starts acting on the particles which are suspended, which are still not settled down, which are remain mixed with that of the mixture. So it will forcefully, it will make the suspended particle heavier, and as the suspended particle they get heavy, so they it gets settled down at the bottom of the test tube. So basically what happened, when the centrifugation occur, the particles, the small particles which are very far away from each other, they start moving towards each other, and as the small particles, they start small suspended particles, they start coming to each other and they coagulate, and due to which they become heavy, and as they become heavy, they settle down to the bottom of the test tube. Okay, so as they get heavier, they suspended and they settle down, and you see now the liquid which is present in that of the mixture, it is lighter. So being a lighter, it will, that liquid will remain on the top. Okay, so this is the process of centrifugation. Okay, by using a centrifuge machine and rotating it at a high speed, we will make forcefully that of the suspended particle to become heavy, due to which it comes down and settle down. Okay, while the liquid will remain at the top. So by the process of using this centrifugation method, we can separate the clay particle which is suspended in water. So if suppose you take a muddy water, you know that there are some of the heavier particle is present, the sand particles are present which settle down easily, but there are some of the clay particles are there which remain suspended in the water. Okay, so by the process of centrifugation, we can separate that clay particle from the water. Now what happened in a milk? You see, milk is what? It is a suspension, and it is a suspension of a teeny droplet of a oil in water liquid. You know that milk generally consisting of oil. Okay, oil or fats is present in it, plus water is present in it. So milk consisting of a oil and water both together. Okay, so it consisting of a small droplet of oil in a watery liquid. So the process of centrifugation is basically used in dairies to separate cream from the milk. Okay, you know that we extract the cream from the milk itself. So what is the process? The process we use to separate the cream by using the centrifugation method. So basically what happened, this milk is, we put the milk in a closed container, and we keep this like you see here, this is a closed container, and we put this milk in the closed container, and then we take this closed container and keep it in a big centrifuge machine. Okay, then what happened, when the centrifuge machine is switched on, the milk which is kept in that of the closed container, it starts rotating, and as the milk starts rotating at a very high speed in its container, thus the suspended particles, the suspended cream will coagulate, will start here the meaning of coagulation is when the tiny particles, when they combine together to make a big particle, that is known as a coagulation. Okay, so the milk, the small cream, that cream which is present in it, it start coagulating with each other and thus forms a cream. And by this we can separate the milk from the cream and the skimmed milk. Okay, that of the skimmed milk. You know that this right now we are using a machine, and that is known as the centrifuge machine, in which we are keeping the milk in it. But you know it very well that we can use this process at a home itself for separating the cream from the milk. And there also we used to rotate the milk, due to which the cream will get separated from the milk. Not only this, you use a lot of other thing also, by which shows the example of a centrifugation, like that of the washing machine. So what happened in the washing machine, when you put the cloth in the washing machine, it starts rotating. Okay, and due to this rotation, basically what happened, this machine help in squeezing out the water from the wet clothes and making them dry. Okay, so when we want to dry the clothes and keeping the wet clothes in that of the dryer of a washing machine, then it will starts rotating, and due to which you see the water from the wet cloth starts come outside, and the making the cloth drier. So you see the solid component is separated from that of the liquid component. There is another very good example, and that is the blood. Okay, so centrifugation also plays an important role in separating the different component of the blood. So when we give the blood sample, this blood sample is kept into a centrifuge machine. You see here, this is a centrifuge machine, and this is the blood, okay, taken by different patient. So when this centrifuge machine, which is in which the blood sample is kept, starts rotating, then what happened? Due to which, at first it was like that. Okay, when the blood was together, when everything is together, the plasma is there, the red blood cells is there, everything is there. Okay, white blood cells are there, you see here everything is together. Okay, so when you give that blood sample, it will look like that. But after you keep it in a centrifuge machine, you see that it get divided into the different components of the blood. Like the plasma, it will remain at the upper, since it is a lighter one. Then white blood cells is present here in between that of the plasma and that of the red blood cells, and red blood cells being heavier, it will remain at the bottom. Okay, so when we keep this blood, you can see here the plasma, 55% of the total blood is there, leukocyte as well as that of the platelets. That's why we are using the term that is buffy coat. So it consisting of the leukocyte and that of the platelets together. It will be present in a very small amount, although it is present in a very small amount in the blood. So it will be there at the middle portion of the plasma and that of the red blood cells, and erythrocyte, which forms the 45% of the total blood, it will remain at the bottom of this test tube in which the blood sample has been taken. Okay, so when it is kept it here, you can see here with the help of this diagram. So at first, when the blood cell, this is known as the uncentrifuged blood. Okay, so at first when we had taken it, it was like the blood was together with it, the blood was present as usual, blood was taken like that only. And when you keep this sample in that of the centrifuge machine, so the centrifuge machine helps us to separating the component of the blood. So basically what happened here also the same thing. When you keep this blood into the centrifuge machine, then this blood will when start rotating, the platelets, the small pellets which is present in it, it starts coagulating, and due to which it gets settled down, while the plasma, which is the lighter one, it will act, it was a liquid only, it's a colorless liquid. Okay, plasma is a colorless liquid, so it will remain on the upper surface, while that of the white blood cells, which is a little bit heavier than that of the plasma, will present at the middle one, and red blood cells, which is present in the which is the heavier one, it get coagulated, the red blood cells get coagulated and settle at the bottom of the cell. So by this we can simply check that whether a person blood is okay or is having some kind of a issue. Okay, so this is the process of centrifugation, and it is used, the application of the centrifugation is lot. You see the application, right now we had discussed that it help in separation of the milk from that of the milk, from separation of the milk, skimmed milk, from that of the cream. The second one, it is used in the washing machine to squeeze out the water from the wet cloth and making it dry, as well as it help in a separation of the blood components from each other, including that of plasma, white blood cells, and that of leukocyte, which is known as erythrocyte, which is also known as red blood cells. Okay, so this is the basic function of application of that of centrifugation.